Any questions of claim docket, June 22nd through June 28th?
Motion to approve.
Second it, all by aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Oh, notation too, Mr. Schweitzer is out of the office for a few days, so he will not be here. Okay. Okay. Mr. Clerk, we have the 4D Counseling Service Clerk's Office.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So this was tabled the last meeting you guys had, and I'm not real sure why. The contract was approved through the attorney for the county, and there were some comments made that we need to go ahead and address. Number one, we go from doing this much paperwork to a total with everything reporting to this much paperwork. We save an incredible amount of time by switching to our new process. Regardless of what some of the comments were made, I sat back and I looked at this and actually at the time study itself, and we're saving, in the amount of time we save in manpower hours, about $700 a month. To continue to do it the way we've done it is antiquated, and it's just time to move on. And the question was asked by the auditor, what are we going to do with that spare time? We're going to continue to move forward. We're running an election. And at this point, I would like to go ahead and move to the other consulting firm, just to the point alone of this much paperwork versus a third of that. And this is what we get back from them. Keep that in mind. So some of that's the stuff they create. And the amount of time it frees up with these time studies is, I reached out to both of them and asked them specifically, and Dossett got back with me, and we do all of this to save $16.25.
I think that the Dossett firm is already doing some work for the county.
Correct.
And
it's not personal. Jeff's a good guy. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of, it's a business decision.
so I would make a recommendation, to move ahead with this service and make motion to approve it.
Second.
All by aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Okay. Next item is memorandum of understanding for the Metropolitan Planning Organization. This was tabled from the June 11th meeting. Mr. Weir, are you here? No. This is something that we just needed to review, and so we tabled it in the June 11th meeting. I think we can move ahead with it now. Commissioner Blankenbeard.
Okay, I'd make a motion to approve.
I would second. All by aye?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Now we have new unit for the juvenile center. Ricky, do you want to explain that?
Good morning.
Morning.
This is just a request for the proposal for a new unit at Juvenile Center. It's a 4-ton unit. We recently just had the compressor go bad over there, and the fan motor needs to be changed as well. So it's $4,500 to repair it, but it's a 24-year-old unit. Replacing it would be the cost of $7,890.67. So being that it's 24 years old, I was just requesting to replace that unit.
Okay. All right. And this is Ricky Hammond, our Director of Maintenance for
Sorry.
Vigo County.
Yeah, and I'd just like to say something. In addition to our highway department that spent tons of hours last week after the storm, Ricky and his crew also did. Ricky works crazy hours, and we appreciate everything you do, Ricky. Keep
Thank
up the good work, and I make a motion to approve.
Second. All by aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda, we have purchase of loaders for highway. Mr. Robbins, County Engineer, please.
Good morning.
Morning.
So we are in need of a few new loaders. So I went to several of the vendors around here. Went to Deere, Westside Tractor Sales, Diamond Equipment for Case, and McAllister Cat Equipment. Got some quotes, Sourcewell quotes for new loaders. The bids were all fairly close, but the guys really felt that the Deere equipment fit their needs the best, and met the spec that we put out to the best ability. So we would like to purchase 2 John Deere loaders from Westside Tractor Sales, so local company, local vendor. This is a step in the process of officially authorizing the purchase of these so that we can secure financing for these as well. Similar to what we've done in the past, we'll spread these payments out over 3 years. We did get quotes for those as well. We asked First, Old National, and Deere itself on rates for financing. First came in with the cheapest rate, like 5.18% for a 3-year loan. So.
And you're happy with this? This is the one you would recommend out of the ones you've?
Yes, correct. I would recommend we go with the purchase of the 2 Deere loaders. But like I said, those are the ones that meet our specifications the best. They're all capable, they're all loaders, but the guys are more familiar with those. Solid Waste currently has one now, so we've kind of been able to try that one out as well. We've had a few success with some few Cat ones, but they were about $10,000 more, so we recommend we go with
Could you
Deere.
tell me how old the one is that I was using yesterday?
Not off the top of my head, but probably at least 15 years old, maybe more than that.
Seemed older than that,
Yeah.
but, yeah.
They get a lot of work.
Yeah.
They have a lot of abuse. The salt and sand in the wintertime is really hard on them. We do our best to keep those things clear, but it's a harsh environment for them to work in, and then we roll them out for situations like we had last week, storm debris removal and things like that. So they're very useful. They're very much needed, for our operations. And before we have 2 of them are getting really, quite aged and in repair. So they're costing us a lot of money to keep fixed. We've got brakes going out on a few of those, cylinders going bad, things like that, so.
Yeah, I'd like to point out that, like the emergency that we had this last week, these things have to run and they have to be responsive at the time. We don't have time to wait around. The same in a snow or an ice emergency. We don't have time to have somebody to order parts for these kind of things for 3 days and that kind of thing. We've got to react. And so we're continuing to try to upgrade our commitment to the community. Okay.
Hey, Larry, is that first proposal, is that for a loan or a lease?
I think technically it's a lease, but it's structured like a loan payment, so.
You might, sometimes you get a better deal with a loan rate than you will a lease rate. Might ask them if
Okay.
there is a difference.
Okay. I'll reach out to First to see if there's a difference. I know, Old National was at least a percentage higher. They were 6 point something. And then Deere's was actually closer, but theirs was, more structured as a lease payment, so.
Thank you, Mr. Brummel. Okay, I would make a motion to move ahead with the purchase of 2 new loaders from John Deere dealer in
I would second that.
all by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Mr. Robbins, you have information on our community crossing grant.
Sure. So yesterday, we opened bids for the Community Crossings Grant for 2024-1 award that we received earlier this year. We had one bidder, Milestone Contractor South. Their bid was $3,057,374.50. My estimate for the work was $3,059,948.32. So they were a little over $2,500 low, or under the estimate. So this would include roads Rio Grande, Gannon, Old Fort Harrison, and Erie Canal and McDaniel.
What we just need to approve the.
Yes, I
go with
just
it?
asked for a recommendation to accept their bid,
Okay.
and, for their work, and then we will move forward. Everything, I reviewed the bid package, everything was included, that should have been included, and everything meets criteria.
I'd make a motion to approve.
I'd second. All by?
Aye.
Aye.
Larry,
Thank you.
again, before you leave, I just wanted to thank you and your department for everything last week. You know, a lot of people don't know, but this time of year, you guys come in at 6 o'clock in the morning, work 4 10s. The morning of the storm, several of those guys worked from 6 in the morning till 9, 10 o'clock at night. And I think, you know, to be commended, got things cleaned up quickly. There's still stuff out there to clean up, but we appreciate everybody's hard work.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long process, but the guys do, they usually step up and things like this, and like I said, they worked a long day that first day, come in at 6:30 in the morning, they worked, some of them didn't leave till 10:30 that night, and then back at it again 6:30 the next morning, so, worked some overtime, you know, like I said, we're on 4 10s, we had some guys come in on Monday that weren't regularly scheduled for Monday, so, just trying to do the best we can to keep ahead of it, but it's gonna be a long process, so.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this time, any comments from the public?
Just a note, anybody that wants one, there are copies of the Wabash Valley Resources Community Benefits Agreement. If you'd like to have them, they're right here on this front table. Yes, it's also posted on the website.
And I will give you a copy of my comments and the email to which I'm referring, if that's okay. I have them in paper copy here to be inputted into the record. Thank you. My name is Whitney Boyce, member of Concerned Citizens Against Wabash Valley Resources and Bold Alliance. First, the facade of community input that was announced last night is a shameful attempt to give lip service to the idea of community input without the actual opportunities necessary for dialogue, negotiation, meaningful engagement that are all critical elements of a true community benefits agreement. This plan was announced last night. Most commissioner meetings are when people are at work. Not to mention, there was only one commissioner meeting scheduled where the public can comment on public record between now and the deadline. Add in the fact that this is a holiday weekend. Many people are out of town, and comments are due by noon the following Monday, giving a mere 3 business days to respond. Pathetic. Where is the engagement, the concern for citizens, and justice in all of this? We, the people, demand more time. We demand in-person public meetings announced well in advance in order to discuss and be consulted on this issue that is for our protection. Government websites state that there must be community involvement in CBAs, particularly involvement from disadvantaged and fence-line communities like ours. However, WVR has not even reached out to the president of the Universal Town Board, a community that is directly impacted by their carbon dump. Community input is so important that it is part of the rating checklist for these government grants that Wabash Valley Resources is applying for. Have you looked into these requirements? We feel WVR are going to try and use your signatures as a way to bypass true community engagement and to give the impression that they have garnered community input so that they can secure the funding we believe is going to be announced August 1st. Commissioner signatures should not stand in place of true community engagement. The pittance that you have called community input is nothing more than a gross injustice that does not meet accessibility requirements and is certainly not conducive to real quality input opportunities. Many people in our community lack reliable or any internet service at all. I couldn't make any phone calls yesterday evening. How would I access this? Many do not use email, and some don't even know how. All the while, Wabash Valley Resources gets face-to-face private meetings to give their input, which, by the way, gives them the security of non-repudiation. And all the while, the fence line community gets an email address. While the commissioners have not entertained any of the research these people have brought to your attention, I will tell you we did reach out to the USGS and they replied that they all share our concerns for induced seismicity in settings of geological carbon sequestration. Now, I ask respectfully, do you consider the USGS to be an expert in geology? This community benefits plan could ask for additional monitoring from independent agents like the USGS who monitor the ADM plant in Decatur, Illinois. In fact, ADM put in a 13-system seismic monitoring network that's overseen by the USGS that records microquakes of negative 0.05 magnitude, which are shown to scientifically predict larger quakes. However, the USGS has not been invited to oversee the WVR project. WVR, in their community benefits plan, does not offer any extra monitoring. And instead, any seismic activity below 3.5 magnitude goes unaddressed as per the EPA permit pages 15 through 16. Requests for additional monitoring and other safety measures should be included in a community benefits package. And we could ask for them if we were given the chance for real and meaningful community input. We ask that you do not sign this agreement. And we ask that the community is given in-person and public meetings announced well in advance so that we can have ongoing collaborative input on the formation of any community benefits package. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Janet Stroll, Santiago. I'm coming back to you again to say, we've been told, and Chris Fletcher should be here for this because it's his statement that he has always given us, that your hands are tied. In this case, with this community benefits agreement, your hands are not tied. Obviously, Wabash Valley Resources, it's giving you the power to make decisions for us in the community directly affected by their pilot project. So, in doing so, understand that we feel you are not looking at us or hearing us about our concerns. And one of the parts of that agreement is about the roads. Those roads belong to us. All of us that pay taxes, they do not belong or be given to Wabash Valley Resources freely to do whatever. So in other words, I'm saying today, your hands are not tied locally. You have given us reasons, federal and state, but locally, you have the power. And putting a deadline on this and limiting who can actually get into the emails to make comments is an injustice. It is not fair to us to be shut out of open meeting and conversation about our health and safety. You are ignoring us, and we know that you can either stand with us or stand against us.
Flo Evinger, E-V-I-N-G-E-R. We're going to start out with a joke here. You ready for it? Do you know what deregulation means? You give up? It means I get to poison you as long as it's profitable. I'm sorry I wasn't able to attend the WVR and the commissioners meeting on Monday. Well, you know what? It was private meetings, not open to the public. So much for transparency with WVR and your commissioners. Did WVR tell you that they have a pending $1.2 billion loan application at the Department of Environmental Policy and full environmental impact studies that would be required required before finalizing this 1.2 billion loan. The community benefits package is part of this loan agreement. So, what does that tell you? They're buying loans. The original Eli Lilly Endowment, which Zoller talks so much about, was founded and intended to fund projects for the local community and projects, like the food banks, volunteer fire department, not to be used to promote a corporate agenda. There had to be more under the table explaining in person, because on the paper, this benefit agreement is so vague and unclear, it could mean anything. WVR doesn't want meetings with the citizens and communities of Vigo and Vermilion County, even to find out what we think is important. Typical of the Vigo County Commissioners to only give Vigo County residents a few days to give their input on such important topics such as our safety. Very few people take newspapers anymore. The local news coverage is so biased that people don't watch it. Our internet service is far from being reliable, and the older citizens don't like computers. So how are we supposed to get our comments to you? The deadline put forth on a holiday weekend has the earmarkings of pressure by WVR to get the benefits agreement signed. WVR is not giving you anything, or the community anything. It's our tax dollars. The government green energy, which is mine and your tax dollars, is just a bait and switch. In the few minutes that I had, think of some things that I think is more important than a few roads, which they're going to tear up to start with. I want an automatic alert system that goes to every household and business within 2 miles of the pipeline and the plant, just like the weather alerts. When there is a suspected drop in line pressure or a leak. I want third-party monitoring this air quality. I want third parties recording all earthquakes. I want, if they don't meet the required stated capture percentage that they say, in 6 months of operating, they lose their tax abatement, they lose their government funding, and they are fined. COT leaks need to be done at schools, just like the fire drills, because something will happen, not if, when. I want signage where the pipeline's going to run. Is WVR going to pay the wheel tax? Are they going to pay county tax in Vermilion County? Is WVR going to tell me when this poison is under my house, or is they just going to let it seep wherever it goes? There's a lot of questions, no answers. You're not giving them to us. WVR is not giving them to us. I got one more thing to say, and this come out of a Jack Reacher book. If you read, you know who Jack Reacher is. It's a quiet place, and the people who run the town were greedy scumbags who do what they were told. They are the politicians. They never say no to money.
Okay. We will listen to every comment. What we will not stand for are those kind of remarks. Okay, my point is we're not going to take that kind of harassment. If you want to say something, come up here and say it. We're more than welcome to listen. We are writing these things down, but we're not going to put up with that.
This was a quote from a book. Was it intended to be you? I don't know. You must have.
Okay, you're not up here anymore. Another gentleman is. Thank you.
Hi, I'm John Ford. I live right in the immediate area there where this is slated to happen. Surely you must understand, I recognize that you don't want to feel like we're attacking you. And we're not attacking you. No, we're attacking this attack on us. So if this has been going on since 2016, this company is coming in to our homes, pipeline would be directly across the street from my house. And you've known about this since 2016, and nobody told anyone in the community about it. So that's problematic. And of course, you know, all of the way this has been not put forth publicly or transparently, I don't know how else to interpret that than you're undermining us and attacking us. You're taking something from us, quality of life, or wanting to, for an economic, you know, benefit for the county or whatever. You surely have to understand, if this were to go in across the street from your houses, you know, I don't think you would stand for that. And where we are, where I am, I'm retired. I've had cancer. You know, fixed income. I can't move. I can't afford to move. I mean, what am I going to do? So am I going to die in my sleep, you know, when this thing ruptures? You know, maybe that's the most humane way to go. I don't know. But, you know, we don't have the resources or the mobility to be able to deal with these things like you do, like the company does. You know, I talked to one of the legislators about this in September, and they told me that their assumption was the company had suggested they were going to put this on site of where the old power plant was. But, you know, why are they not doing that? You know, there are just so many things that we feel like we're being hit just out of the blue with another detail, and it all just undermines our quality of life, and, you know, we feel trapped, and we don't feel like, you know, we voted for you. I mean, we support you running, you know, our county government and systems, and we feel like this is, you know, I won't say it's an outright betrayal, but it feels like that. I'm sure it's not intended that way, but for us, it feels like you're just selling us out because there aren't very many of us. That's how it feels.
Okay, could I answer a couple of those?
Yeah.
I appreciate your comments.
Yeah, please.
Just to make clear the timeline on this did start in 2016. From 2018 to 2023, this project ramped up. For clarification, Mr. Morris and Mr. Schweitzer took office January 1st of 2021. I took office of January 1st, 2023. In 2023, the state passed SB 451 that approved this. As we've said all along, this was not our decision. We could not make this decision. Once that happened, we have listened to people. We have had forums. Everyone's invited to every commissioner meeting we ever have. We've had smaller groups come in. And if I could just finish.
Yeah.
And the thing is that we ask, you know, what is most important to you? It was public safety, things like that. And that's what this first $500,000 goes towards, is to train and equip the fire departments in that area.
That's all reactive.
I mean, you're asking us to help. The only help we can do is to make sure this is as safe as possible. This decision it was not ours to make. It wasn't. I mean, it's a fact.
So basically you're saying all this is just theater, just for show, that it's going to happen anyway.
No. Well, is it going to happen? I mean, yes, I believe it's going to happen. Sorry, it's signed into law, so I believe it's going to happen. It's happening. I mean, the past 3 presidential administrations have all leaned this way. They've all started going down this road. Instead of smokestacks releasing carbon, they're going to put it in the ground. I'm not saying that I totally agree with that, but that's the fact. It doesn't have anything to do with us. We did not make these decisions. We're just trying, whether you want to believe it or not, to make things better for the community and to help the community.
Well, so there's nothing about this that's going to make it better for me. or I suspect any of these people. There's nothing about this that's gonna help. They're gonna tear up the roads, it's gonna be loud, there's gonna be light, it's gonna, I mean, it's.
But
it-
they are also going to fix the roads.
Well, oh, yeah, but they're gonna tear them up too, and you're counting this as a win that they're gonna pay to fix the roads that they tear up.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Well, so if they're tearing up the roads, you said, okay, well, they're gonna fix the roads. And you're counting that as a bonus, hey, they're gonna fix the roads. Well, they're gonna tear up the roads, so it's not like they're gonna improve anything. I mean, this whole thing is ugly and stinks. And I recognize that it's not directly your personal, doing for this, but how come the residents weren't notified in 2016 when this was on the table? I
Well,
mean, I know you can't answer that.
I
'cause
can't
you weren't
answer,
here.
I can't answer that. I mean, I do know that, there are newspaper articles, things like that. I mean, this has been out there.
That's,
I mean, again,
and as for coming to the meetings, until I retired, I couldn't get off during the week to come to a meeting in the morning. And I'm sure, I mean, who has that luxury? Granted, with the nature of your job and the screwed up hours that you end up having to work, you have a lot of flexibility. Most of us don't have that, or have not had that. So,
Again, we've had forums of an evening. We're always open. We could have, smaller meetings of an evening also. I mean, at the end of the day, again, we are taking the brunt of this, that's fine. We are elected officials. We signed up for it. I wonder sometimes why more of your anger isn't aimed at, state legislatures and the governor and the federal government. Okay, that's what I'm just saying. I mean, we continue to get hammered, and we did not make this decision, and we can't reverse this decision. All we can do at this point is try to make it better for the community that's being affected.
So what happens if you do not approve this?
Well, they're not going to, this is private money going to a private foundation. If we don't approve it, your community loses out on millions of dollars. That's what happens.
If it's private money going to a private foundation, how are we losing out on money?
They're going to spend this money, or however, if we come up with a foundation, whatever it is, we want public input. Okay? We want your input. That's why we're giving an email address that you can send your input to. You can call me. You can call and leave those messages anytime you want. And we are listening. We're listening here for more, ideas.
Well, right, but it doesn't sound like you're open to ideas. It sounds like you just want to.
We're totally open to ideas.
Well, you just said you can't do anything. You said it's gonna.
I can't do anything about the decision to allow WVR to do this. That was done at the state
Right.
level.
Mr. Ford,
Yeah.
we don't have, the community doesn't have to take this money, period. I mean, you're advocating that we do not do this.
No. Yes.
Okay, that will not stop the plant, okay? That will not stop it. This is not a consideration of that. I know it's been insinuated for loan agreements and this kind of thing. This is an offer made. It's not us acquiesce into them or whatever. But if we don't take it, the plant will go ahead.
How much are our lives worth?
Mr. Ford?
Yeah,
I'm not arguing that. We're talking about an agreement here. You're talking about stopping the plant, period. Right? Am I incorrect?
Yes.
That the only way that you're going to be satisfied is if it does not proceed. Is that correct?
I would say that's correct, yes.
Okay, thank you. This agreement, it can be accepted or not accepted. It won't affect whether that facility will go ahead and proceed.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have anything to say to that. Thank you for your time, and, good luck to all of us.
Commissioners, thank you for taking the time to listen to us today. My name's Amy McLennan, excuse me, and I live just about 400 feet from where they want to put the pipeline 5 feet under the ground. And I understand that these decisions were made before your tenure here, and that you can't do anything about decisions that our legislators made, disenfranchising our communities who will be directly affected by these facilities. I have a concern about the transparency of these meetings. I've lived in this area for about, I think, 3 or 4 years now, and you say that there have been meetings since what, 2016? When were those meetings? Could you give us a schedule of when those meetings were held, when all of these plans were discussed?
2016, those early meetings, we weren't involved in that. We've only been involved in the last year, probably.
I think any of that,
Can-
if there's anything on the county level, I'm sure we can look it up.
Thank you.
That's the one that she's asking about, because you just said that there were meetings with the public who get input on those, and the only meeting we can remember is the Fayette meeting.
Well, I know that I've met with Mr. Loomis and a group of...
You said there
several.
was public meetings on, in reference to this agreement, and that's what we're having right now. We didn't have any public meetings before in reference to this. This is just,
Oh.
this wasn't available until Thursday or Friday,
Oh, gosh, that's
okay?
really very short time frame, isn't it?
Well, I
And why is there such a short time frame between, reviewing this application and
well, we're
our
here.
comments?
I don't, there's nothing on the table to be approved or not approved at this point.
Okay. So I share many concerns and
Sure.
of all of the people here. I live, I would be directly impacted in case of any kind of emergency. I wouldn't survive if there was any kind of leakage in that pipeline. And I think one of the biggest concerns that I have is, whereas WVR has these, has written this agreement here, I feel like there's vagueness in it, and I also feel like I cannot trust the members of this company. At the very first public meeting where they met with us out in Fayette Township, Nolan stood up and said, if you don't want us here, we'll go. And we've made it very clear, the people who would be directly impacted in this community, that we don't want this plant here, and yet they continue to misstate, shall I say, that they've had continuing community support. And that is not the case. So I have a problem with this agreement because there's a lie right there and, on the first page of the agreement. They don't have our support. They've been disingenuous. John Ford over here mentioned that there was a discrepancy about the communication of where they intend to place, this shaft to go down and sequester the carbon. And in all of the communications that I've seen publicly in, I think there's an Indiana Business Magazine, in the newspapers, in flyers they've handed out, they all have an illustration that shows this shaft that goes directly underneath their facility, and carbon is sequestered there. So they're out in the public. There is not an understanding that they are running a pipeline outside of all of our houses through these fields, past where we live, our children play, where there are bobcats and deer and turkeys running, that they want to run this pipeline for over 11 miles to dump the carbon underneath our houses. And, you know, I think I get some of what they're saying about the science, but this pipeline is dangerous. And I'm afraid of it. And I think everybody here is afraid of it. And I realize it's not your fault that legislators disenfranchised us, which that's what they did. They removed any our power to speak out against this company. They've exempted this company. And so what I fear is that if you sign this agreement, and yes, it means that our community would lose out on this money, and yes, they might go ahead anyway, but we've had every other way cut off from us. We've gone to public meetings with WVR, and they obviously have not listened, and they've lied here on this proposal, right? We weren't informed in timely fashion about any of these plans, and the public is being misinformed. Unless you live right out there where we are, you don't realize that this pipeline is going 11.5 miles past homes and schools. You know, it's a danger to us. So, you know, what recourse do we have? We have to reach out to anybody and get your ear. And I'm afraid that if we sign this agreement, that this will be used as leverage by the company with their lie on the first page about community support to go and get the rest of the loans that they're counting on in order to make this company go. Bear in mind that we're paying for this company out of our taxpayer pockets already. They're going to be getting the taxpayer subsidies every step of the way. They are in it just for the 45Q tax abatements. I don't care what they say they plan to make. What their product is tax, 45Q tax refunds. They are making, they have got permission from the EPA to pollute our air beyond the original permit that they applied for. So we are going to be suffering from increased air pollution in addition to this dangerous pipeline in a seismically active zone. This is very emotional for me because I moved back to Terre Haute. I moved to be here, to be in this place that is so beautiful, to be with my family, and I see that we're all at risk. I've learned so much about the power of our community. I so deeply respect all of my neighbors and how they've come forth and researched and learned about this. And, and yet all of this, it's like too late because we've been sold down the river. Okay? I feel like we have no one to talk to, and we all express our emotions in different ways. Some people shout, I cry. Okay? So we are emotional about this because we are in a corner. Decisions were made without our input, and decisions were made to exclude us from any kind of recourse. And so we're reaching out to you. I don't want to give this company any leverage, even if it costs us millions of dollars. I don't want them to have this. I don't want my grandchildren, to die of asphyxiation from, while these guys fill their pockets. They don't care. They don't live here. We do. We live here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning,
Morning.
Doug Scott.
Doug?
I'm angry. I'm very angry. I'm angry at our governor. I'm angry at the former politician John Ford. I'm angry at our state legislators. I'm angry at every step of the government that has steamrolled us. I'm angry at everything. I'm angry at this whole deal. I'm angry about the private meetings that the community's not allowed to be in. I'm angry that we have no voice. I'm angry that our voice falls on deaf ears. I'd like to change that. I really would. I'm angry that these deals are being made and we can't have any say in it. I don't know, but I get angry when I get angry when a dog shits in my yard, and I don't like it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Scott.
Hi, I'm Pete Ford. I grew up, I'm one of the Ford family here. I grew up just where Amy McLennan is living now. Last August, I believe it was, I was visiting my sister, and I know that this is more of an emotional thing but the fact that we're dealing with a company, and you're dealing with a company, I agree with Amy McLennan in that I don't want to give the company any more reason to say that we approve, and by, although it seems stupid to turn down millions of dollars of whatever safety equipment, whatever, I don't want that to be seen as an endorsement by us that it's okay for this company to come in, okay, if this is approved. A year ago, I remember I was at my sister's house, which used to be my father's house, and this flyer came in, this innocuous looking flyer, and it was like the EPA, whatever, you know, and I just glanced at it. It's addressed to my deceased parents. And I look, it's Paul and Eleanor Ford. And, oh, wow, there's a map. Okay, so, you know, and then I'm looking at it, and I like maps, you know, so, and I'm like, holy crap, you know, what is this? This shows this big, it's right where we live. And it's taking advantage of our community, okay? I personally live in Ohio now, but I come back as often as I can. It's so they're going to put this thing within sight of my parents' grave. I know that's an emotional argument, but it's like across the hill from where my folks are buried. This is where this is going. And here we're trying to, and I know that this is beyond you guys, okay? It goes to a higher level, but I want you guys to understand that we don't have to say yes to everything that the people above at the state level have said. You don't have, I assume, unless it's already been done as a deal, why did we find out about this? Why did I find out about this in August of 2013? 23, yeah, I'm sorry. 23, off by a decade, that's bad. We haven't even known about this for a year, and still the community, the uneducated community, I'm a full professor in Michigan right now, but the uneducated community around here, and which I use in quotes, we have to like come up with and do all this research to counter the stuff that's been worked out by this immoral company who's in it just for greed and avarice, it's not even a profitable thing. It's taking state dollars, you know, it's for government subsidies to do this carbon thing. We're paying for this. And then our community is paying for it on top of that by being in the danger zone. And again, so if we approve this thing of you know, okay, we're going to have extra road work, we're gonna have extra, safety things from the fire, you know, first responders kinds of things. That's going to be seen as an approval that we think that this is okay. And I'm not saying that I would defer to what the most people in the community say. But I think that by going ahead and taking this, it's an endorsement of, okay, well, I guess the company's going ahead and let's just go ahead and, you know, take it. But I don't think we should. I don't. But as far as I know, gentlemen, and I say all this respectfully, and lady, is there any possibility that this thing can be shut down from the county level, or that it can be denied? It's already a done deal.
Shut down the
Well,
plant,
just,
or the operation, or the opening of the plant?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
yeah. I mean, is there any recourse that the county has, that the people of the county have, besides submitting comments? Is there any recourse? No.
None
Wow,
that I know
that's
of.
really sad.
I mean, you know, when they start construction, they will obviously have to have inspections done, things like that. And if they fail those inspections,
Okay,
you know,
but
they
they're
have to
also,
abide by that.
okay, well, can we add some wordage in the contracts that also they have to have, like the USGS, look at how they monitor things? Can we add that as a safety to our county and our citizens?
What contract, Mr. Ford?
Well, yeah, the
Okay,
agreement.
all right. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, can we add provisions to that to help protect our citizens? Not reactive, as my brother said, but proactive. Okay, you know, maybe we won't need, you know, all these Humvees for the fire department if we can also have, for less money, have another government agency, you know, just monitor things. I don't know. It's a thought. So, but, and I have to say, I got in town last night. I live in Ohio, so I have not read that in its entirety. But, in fact, I just got to read it right here. But that's my thinking on things. So I hope that we can be proactive. I think, so with all due respect, I mean, I think you guys are on, you're on our side? You're on the public side? Yeah?
I mean,
Yeah?
yeah, we
I
certainly.
think that this is what we're interested in, the public safety, but I didn't read any Humvees in here. by
Okay,
the way.
okay, and that was me.
I mean, of
putting-
course,
yeah,
of course,
gotcha.
we want
Yeah.
the public to be safe, and
Okay.
we're trying to do that with this right here.
Okay, so proactively seems more, you know, it's better to build a fence at the top of the cliff than have an ambulance at the bottom of the cliff? Have you heard that analogy before? Okay, yeah, so I think that makes sense. I think that's common sense. And I don't live in Vigo County, but I grew up here, and I'm probably gonna retire here, I don't know. So I wanna make sure that things are, as copacetic as they can be, and as safe as they can be. Fence at the top of the cliff instead of the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. Okay? My folks are gonna look from their grave at the carbon, how many millions of metric tons being pumped into the ground right next to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ford.
My name is Marie Osborne. Thank you for letting us have comments today because we really have been left out of this completely. As people have said, our knowledge, even if you knew in 2016, all we ever heard was there was going to be an anhydrous plant built for to provide cheaper inputs for our farmers, and everybody is for that. Yep. My question is, why isn't the plant built now? Because building the anhydrous plant has nothing to do with carbon sequestration. They are not required to sequester the carbon in order to build the anhydrous plant. How many jobs that they have promised to Vigo County have already been produced? How many people are actually working at that plant currently? I think there are very few. It's the same handful that are in the upper management who are trying to usher all of this through. My concern is, yes, in this statement, it does say that the community is behind it. I believe our governmental community is behind it. I believe every unions are behind it. I love that they put in here for our coal miners. They're going to, make jobs available for our coal miners. All of that sounds wonderful. It does. But they talk about they have to sequester the carbon. They are going to be producing all of this carbon. It's not like they're benefiting our community by removing carbon from the air. They are going to make all of this carbon. They are bringing the additional air pollution to us. They are bringing the additional problems to our community. Yes, I agree. They should definitely have a payment plan for us, because basically, for those of us who are homeowners, we have been told that they do not, if our property values go down, we were told, too bad, we're not liable for that. If there is some minor seismic activity and you get a crack in your foundation or the bottom falls out of your well or whatever the case may be, they are not liable. There is nothing in here that gives the community that is going to be affected any reassurance that their needs are going to be taken care of. We pay our taxes. We pay for our roads. Our roads in our area, oh God, yes, they definitely could be redone. We're lucky if we get seal coated every 10 years and the edges break off within the first year. So road improvements would be great. My question is, when you met with them, is this exactly what they handed you? Did you make any changes? Was there any negotiation that went on? You said, oh, this is what you're going to give us? Great. Did you ask
We got this last week.
Okay.
We got this we got this email on Tuesday night at 5:31. I can show you the copy of when
That's
we got
fine.
it. We were scheduled to meet with them individually again
During the storm.
the next day. Obviously, we had a storm that we've been taking care of. So yesterday, we met with them individually, and this is exactly what we got.
Okay, so there was no negotiation during this?
That's why
Oh,
we're
okay,
talking
right,
about it.
but I'm saying, we are given till Monday to make comments. Why such on a holiday week, what is the reason that we are only given a week?
How long would you like us to give comment for? Because we're open to that. How long would you like us to extend that comment period?
30 days. A meeting with the community. We were promised by WVR that they would be meeting with the community to answer our questions. Then it was, well, we'll be inviting small groups in to talk to you because this is getting, there's too much emotion here. Has anybody been invited?
I believe some of these folks have been into
Oh, to
the
you, I've
conference
been to
room.
the meeting with you,
Yeah.
yes, and I appreciate that, but you sit and tell us, my hands are tied. I can't do anything. This is a done deal. But they were supposed to be getting community information and input from us to begin with. That has
we
not
have-
happened.
And we have, the representatives of WVR have said that you can contact them anytime. They told us yesterday that not one person has. I'm just telling you what they're saying, that you can take
I
that,
also
whatever.
was told that I was on
So-
an email list that
So
any
you
information.
can email them anytime you want, you can call them anytime you want.
I've not gotten one email from them, even though
So
I'm
you
on
would
their
like
list.
30 days, is that what you would
I
like?
would say at least 30 days, and I expect a meeting with them to answer questions. Again, I would like a public forum where people are able to come forward. I appreciate that you are doing this and you're going to take comments, but we will never know what happens with those comments or what those comments are. Why can we not have a public forum? Why can't we have at least 30 days? What is the rush? If this project has been going on since 2016, not a thing has happened at that plant. That plant is not ready to produce anhydrous. There is not a pipeline in the ground yet. They are still trying to browbeat people into giving them easements. We have not been given that choice. The pipeline is not on my property, but I will have this sequestered under my home. no matter what. We were also told at the first meetings that the air quality and the water quality will be monitored. We asked by whom? The EPA told us WVR will be monitoring that and sending the results to them. The bare minimum, we need an independent third party to be monitoring this company in the air and the water. There is nothing about that in here, nothing. I do not trust this company. This has all been done in secret. It continues to be done in secret. They will not even talk to us. All I ask is that you give us time, give us a forum where all parties can be involved, not just the union leaders, not just the people seeking jobs, but the people who are going to be living with this day in and day out. That every morning that I wake up and I see fog across the field, I'm going to be wondering if we have a CO2 leak or if it's just fog like we normally have. That's what we are going to be living with. None of you live in our area. If you notice, none of the people that are in charge of this for WVR live in our area. They are all living south of town, as far south as they can get, and still be in Vigo County. Please, give us the time, give us a forum, give us an open meeting. People are under the impression that there is a well under the ground, that there is going to be a container to contain this. There is no container. It's the surface, it's the undersurface, the saline and the, you know, that area. They talk like there's a cap. Again, please, at least monitoring something. Yes, I know you don't want to turn down millions of dollars. No community does. But again, there has to be monitoring in this. And again, for you just to sign what they are offering, please, this is the one time your hands are not tied. Please get some protections for our community in this. I don't see that here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
All right, I guess I'm the last one. I'm a veteran, and I took an oath to protect the people in our country, and I will do that the rest of my life. Now, these people right here lie, lie, lie. This is not right having this meeting here today. We're going to Newport to have a big meeting up there with Zoyer. He's the big snake liar. Now, we need to have a meeting somewhere like New Goshen, get all these people here together, and you'll see what we're talking about. The big deal is they want you to sign this so they can get a bunch of money into this month. That cannot happen. You're about to open up a beehive. That could be very bad. These neighbors of mine lived here their whole lives. I love every one of them, and I'm going to do everything I can to protect them. They are not bringing that pipeline out here in our territory. You cannot run 2,100 pounds pressure on a pipe. And before you do that, you got to test it 1.5 times. That's 3,000 pounds plus. It will not work. I've been a pipe fitter for 30 years. I was a high-pressure boiler operator repairman in the Navy. I know all about pipe. I worked at that place right there 16 years ago, retired. I told my buddy, I said, now you be careful, this place is going to blow up. 2 months later, it blew up. They killed 2 friends of mine, and it'll blow up again. Those people are not safe. They talk about safety here. They never had an electric fire truck yet. That's the only thing will run when they have a CO2 leak. Electric. There's no such thing as an electric fire truck. But I don't worry about that because it's not coming out in our territory. Now, we voted on this new mayor. Terre Haute was supposed to help us on this. I've heard nothing about him helping us yet. But somebody's got to help us. You people got to see this. Read up on it. We got smart people here. They read up on all this. They got documents. And we'll be using them probably for long. This has got to be stopped. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really was not planning on speaking until some comments that were made earlier. Specifically, the comment that there's nothing that can be done, and the comment that you shouldn't be mad at us, but you should be mad at state legislatures, and you should be mad at this company. You are the representatives of these people. They want you to be mad at these state legislatures and this company. And for them, they want, WTHI will be more than willing to take your statement right after this meeting and condemn John Ford and condemn Wabash Valley Resources. It cannot all be ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings. The comment was made earlier that the people are talking to the commissioners like dogs. These people in this community are being treated like dogs.
Sir, could you state your name and your address, please?
My name is Matt Larmer, 363 Westcut Singer Drive, Terre Haute, Indiana, 47802.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
BASF, I'm sure a lot of people remember. I don't live in the area of this project, but I live about 2 miles away from where they were wanting to put BASF. And the mayor and the commissioners were all for it at the time. They said, it'll be a great benefit to our community. We'll get a bunch of money. And the people came together on their own without help from local leaders and shut it down. And so what they're asking is, this time, show the state exactly what was said earlier. We don't have to accept what the state is pushing on us. We don't have to accept what the federal government is pushing on us. Our whole state has made it known to the world that we are for sale. This is happening around the state where public officials are selling out communities for private gain. It's happening all over the state. I think what they're asking is, let's be the community that stands up and says, no, we're going to run our community differently. We're not going to accept what's pushed on us by Wall Street executives and federal bureaucrats. So they're asking, stand up with us, be angry with us, and I appreciate your time. And I believe that you guys can make a difference in this project. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Brendan Kern is Director of Vigo County Soil and Water Conservation. Would you like to come up and make a statement?
I don't know if I'd like to, but if you want to ask me questions,
Yeah, please come up.
I know. It's, as John, I overheard his whispers back here, nothing about this is funny, and I do agree. It's a very sensitive subject. First of all, Brendan Kern, Soil and Water Director for Vigo County. As commissioner, I wasn't for this project because of the way it was handled, lack of communication, the issues. As a person who genuinely cares about our environment, it's in my professional career and focus forever. And in my focus on the health of the Wabash River, there are a lot of things that concern me about this initially. I research things on my own. I'm your appointment, thank you, as the commissioner for the Wabash River Heritage Corridor Commission, which I've served as president, I think now for 3 years. Our commission is concerned about this project. And so in my role, in my capacities as Soil Water Director and Commission President, we've brought experts in for presentations for our group. We wanted to know, if you are injecting stuff down into the ground, what can it affect? Can it affect your groundwater? Can it affect, could it cause an earthquake like fracking, as we hear about? And through those discussions, through those education sessions, I am not for this project, but I'm okay with it. And I'm okay with it in the aspect of it going straight down a mile through 3, 4 possible aquifers and the sedimentation that's in between it, how it's going to be encased, how the protections are. As I've been told, put in place. What I have concerns with and what our SWCD group, our board, and employees have with is another pipeline. You know, if there are some pipelines in this area, the New Goshen area, I forget the number, and I hate it with everybody behind me like this, but Larry, I'm gonna pick on you, because you're the pipeline safety guy. If I say there's 12 pipelines in that area from 63 up, does that make sense, that, in that corner? Okay. And so what I've learned through this research was how many pipelines we have, and I don't have a number for you, but I'm gonna say 14. What's in there? Well, it changes. You know, in the environmental world, we call it methyl ethyl bad stuff when we're not sure what it is. We know there's petroleum products going through there. But the big thing that concerns me is a giant anhydrous pipeline that comes from Iowa to the CF Industries storage area on Clinton Road. I mean, that goes right, John, it goes right by your place, right, Fords? Hi, Amy. That's what I'm talking about, the ammonia pipeline. So the way I look at it is, and I'm not trying to be funny, but John, you know how I am, you know my personality, most of you do, you guys are screwed. If there's going to be, I mean, right now, if there's going to be an earthquake in that area, I don't think carbon dioxide in a liquid form is going to be your issue. I think it's a part of it for sure. But you've got ammonia going through there. That's what's going to get you, right? I mean, farmers, come on, who's been burned by anhydrous ammonia here? Look, so that's what my concern is. Yeah, Mike, you've been around it. It's bad stuff. So one thing that has come out of this discussion, it's just like our LEAP project, is we cross these things over. We are more aware right now what our environmental risks are in this community. The last 2 years, we had a water shortage. We may be on track again for another water shortage. Many of you came to our presentations, our soil water presentations, about how to protect our water table. A big concern that I had with this project was, is this going to mess up our water? Well, talking to experts, people that know what they're doing, those third parties we were talking about have assured me we're fine. But my concern is that line from the source out and down. I talked to WVR. I've been to the meetings. When I was commissioner, I went to a meeting. I went to a couple of meetings. Most of you know that. Some of you know that. I walked out of the first one. I was mad. I came back and I learned and I listened. It's an interesting position that I'm in. It's a hell of a position that you're in. And Mark, I'm glad that I'm not sitting where you are at this moment, because it's a no-win deal. I go back to when, Tammy, you may recall this, there was an issue, stop me when I pass my mark. There was an issue with Kennett Avenue and flooding down there. And the Army Corps says, we're going to give you $1 million. Larry, you recall this? $1 million they're going to give to Larry to build up Kennett Avenue. The residents turned it down. They walked away from $1 million to raise the road so that people can go to and from when the river does flood. That was bizarre. One guy says, hey, you build hovercrafts here in Terre Haute, will you buy us all hovercraft instead? I liked that. I thought that was pretty funny. But they were serious. I'm not here to talk about that, okay? But I'm going to do former commissioner hat here. It's already in motion. It's moving forward. What we can all do is make sure that WVR does what's right to protect us and our assets, whether it's through air quality monitoring. They're paying a third party. That's where that comes from. Let them do. Well, I don't get off too much of a tangent. We need to do what we can to ensure that we're protecting ourselves in this environment. I looked at the agreement. It's vague. And to be honest with you, I reached out to Danny and I said, I think there's a few more things that need to be added here. Yeah, the timeline, the timeline's off. I get it. I bet it's up to the commissioners whether they delay or not. That's from a soil water perspective, with talking with them, I feel confident that there will be environmental organizations in this community that could benefit from that money. that could help towards efforts in the area, whatever those efforts may be. It's early, it's not defined that well. I really think by Monday, you guys could knock something out. With that said, don't pass up the money. And again, that's not what I'm here for, Mark. From the Soil Water Conservation District perspective, we are okay with it going down 1 mile based off of our research. Our board is supportive of the project because it will provide a valuable source that they need in this area that they cannot get. Anhydrous ammonia production in the U.S. is pretty much going away. Most of it comes from overseas. It's transporting bad stuff to our area. Our farmers say they need it. That's why they're supportive of the project. Is there anything else I need to cover, or are we good? Do you have any questions for me, Mike?
No.
Okay.
I been in it. When they passed the tax abatement on it, I stood right where you're at and
Yep.
suggested that they not give them tax abatement. As far as local government, we've done what we can to this point, and I believe we can implement some safety things. They seem to be receptive to that. We can hold them accountable to some of those safety things, I believe.
I agree.
But I believe the project's going ahead.
Appreciate your perspective. Brendan.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It's a tough spot for all of us, and I hope we all make the right decisions. Thank you.
Thanks.
Kevin Gardner. I live in Sugar Creek. I wasn't going to get up here and say anything, and I probably shouldn't, but I just want to throw out this comment. I'm not for carbon sequestration. I think it's bad. I think it's potentially bad for the environment. I don't think we should do it. But on the other side of that, I do think this is a project that's going to happen regardless of anything. I think the motion's already been set. It's rolling downhill, and it's only picking up speed. So I don't think it can be stopped. If you can, that's great. I would love to see it not happen. I would love to see those 14 pipelines that Mr. Kearns was talking about not be out there. But they're out there, and those weren't stopped when they tried to do that. That being said, because I don't think you're going to stop it, I think it's going in. I do think they could work with you on this agreement, and I think they could do more stuff for the community. I think they're low on the amount of money they want to put in there. I think they could also set up a fund for if there are incidents, that the money is paid out of that fund to help correct those issues. I think they could do the third-party stuff. You guys have named a lot of stuff that should be added to that agreement. I would just hope that you work with the commissioners to get that stuff put in. If it can't be stopped, at least make it as safe as it can be made. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Appreciate all the comment. Seeing no more public comment, any comments from commissioners or other elected officials?
Nope.
I have a comment. We did have a storm that moved through the community, as Commissioner Klinkenbeard mentioned. Our highway department, we thought, did an excellent job. 3 days to the time last year when we had a severe weather incident. What I've seen this time is this is more manageable, although the physical damage to homes is more severe than last year. Many people displaced. But what I wanted to mention was, because it's not as widespread countywide, what I have seen is our community helping these people, and it's when you're tired and you've cleaned up about your last limb or whatever, see other people helping their friends and neighbors. It's very good, very good. I appreciate the people of the community. That's all I've got. So we will recess.